The number one thing holding young men back today is their past. It's the event that happened in the past that you regret. It's the event that when you go out and you remember what happened, you can't stop thinking about that event. You can't stop thinking about the what ifs. What if I said something different? What if I did this instead? And it keeps playing in your mind. And I know this because I was there for 4 whole years. I regretted a certain situation that affected 3 years after it. It affected the friends I made, it affected how I acted, it affected my self-esteem. And every time I was reminded of that event, every time I thought of it, I tried to run away from those thoughts. I tried to suppress them. I tried to push them down in the deepest, darkest corner in my mind that I could. So I'm going to tell you how I was able to stop regretting that moment, stop regretting the past. I'm going to tell you an action you can take. I'm going to tell you a mindset change that will help you. But most importantly, I'm going to tell you something that's so much better than those 2 tips. And this is something you are already doing that makes you ahead of so many young men. Puts you ahead of your classmates, the people you work with, but you just don't know it yet. But before I get into that, I want to tell you a story. I'm about to do what every man hates the idea of. When they hear this word, they hate it. They don't know how they would act. They don't know what they would do. They shy away from the topic. That topic is therapy. I'm going to my first therapy session. The therapist opens the door, and I get welcomed with a nice smile. Her presence is opening, and I can already feel myself feeling more comfortable, feeling like I want to open myself. So I walk into the room, and I get a feeling of comfort again, and peace, a sense of warmth. I'm reminded of my house, my living room. In the corner, there's board games, there's a candle lit. And so I go to sit down. And as I sit across from the therapist, she pulls out a piece of paper that I filled out not too long ago. And she's reviewing the boxes I checked off. And she says, "You have depression. How can I help?" My mind starts to act up. The red alarms start going off of my mind. Red alert, red alert. Like, as a man, like, you can't share your emotions. I mean, we don't really even know how to. Like, for me, I just ran away from them. I do everything in my power to not look at her. I'm looking around the room, wondering, where do I start? Should I start at the end? Should I start with one of my main problems? Do I tell her a story on how it happened? I'm looking around the room trying to find the answer, but it's not coming to me. And as I'm doing this, the cozy room that felt like home no longer feels like home. The flat floor tilted. My mind is spinning. I'm reminded of the past that I regret. I'm filled with all the memories. My mind is spinning. It gets warm. And I start to breathe heavy. I don't know where to start, and she just looks at me with her eyes. She's interrogating me, patiently waiting for me to spill out all the crimes that I've committed, all the bad things that I've done. And her interrogation worked. I finally caved in. I decided to start where it all happened. It's my freshman year, and I had lost one of my best friends. She had recently got a boyfriend. the dynamic of the whole group changed. The person that I once FaceTimed every day, that I would go hang out with, no longer FaceTimed me. It felt like that bond I had with her was no longer there, that it was just tossed away into the trash. Like it didn't even mean anything. And eventually I decided I've had enough. I tell the therapist that I sent this huge text on Snapchat. I literally hit the word limit on Snapchat. And this is not me repeating things. And as I sent it, I didn't get understanding from the other person. I didn't get understanding that I just wanted my friend back. That I wanted to go have things go back to the way they were. I got criticized. I got labeled as the villain. She screenshotted it, sent it to her female friends in the group chat. And I got text of, why'd you do that? Why'd you send that? What's wrong with you? After that, our friend group dissipated. I no longer talked to her. I no longer talked to the other friends. And it felt like it was my fault for breaking that group up. So now, as I'm telling this, I keep saying that year after year in high school, I lost more and more friends, and I kept blaming myself. Even though I never said anything like the first one. And it was because of girl drama. The girls didn't get along, so they departed. And the ones that departed stopped talking to me. To me, it felt like our friendship didn't matter. I asked myself questions. Was I really their friend? Did I not try hard enough? Did I say something wrong? Did I do something wrong to where a little drama separated us? And as I'm going through more and more stories of this happening, eventually getting to my senior year, which is now in the present moment of this therapy session, I started to realize something. I had originally put all the blame on myself. I put myself down. My confidence suffered. My self-esteem suffered. I couldn't connect with the new people I met, making those friendships suffer. And I realized that I had made those events seem worse than they are. And the fact that I tried to run away from them made it worse instead of confronting it. When I talked about this to the therapist, it gave me a third-person view of the events that happened in my life. I didn't view them as bad when I was speaking, but I was just telling what happened to the therapist. And then that got me thinking that, again, this was not my fault. And why should it stay like this? So now I'm going to tell you that one actionable step, and this is deep journaling. So I'm not going to tell you to go see a therapist because that's expensive. You might also not want to go talk to some stranger, spill your emotions out, all your problems onto them. But you can do this in the journal, and this journal can only be for you. So all you need is 10 minutes. That's not a lot of time. You want to stop regretting the past. And it might just take 10 minutes. So when you're journaling the event that comes up to your mind the most, the event you regret the most, write it out. Try not to have any positive or negative thoughts to it. Have no judgment. When you are writing a thought, write it down. Don't judge the thought. If you are writing something down and a new thought comes to mind, end that part, end that original sentence, and write the new one. And don't stop. At the end of the 10 minutes, when you're done, take a deep breath. You've done something amazing. Now I want you to reread it. And as you read it, hopefully, like me, you'll start to realize that this event was not as bad as you thought. You'll also get that third person view. And then this goes into the mindset change. So for me, I realized that losing all those friends was a good thing. Because now I'm actually grateful for the friends I have. I can now know who my true friends are. Now that I no longer regret the past, I'm able to connect to people more. New people that I meet. And so the mindset change is viewing that moment as positive. I want you to rewrite it in your brain. Again, for me, that was losing those friends helped me realize my true friends, and that I'm grateful for them. Take your time with this. And the last part that's more valuable than the last two, than the actionable step I gave you in the mindset. And that is that you are thinking about changing. You clicked on this video because you do not want to regret your past anymore. And that is so valuable. I say this because you're thinking about changing. You're thinking about improving. And that puts you ahead of so many other young men, because let me tell you this. They are not thinking about it. They spend their time drinking, doing drugs, like me, running away from those events, running away from those problems. But when we confront it, that's how we improve. That's how we actually let go of the past and start improving our lives. You know, I believe you can do this because we are similar. And I believe after you let go of your past, you stop regretting it. You'll be more in the present. You'll start looking more into the future. And you'll actually be excited to finally improve yourself again. You'll be excited to see what's next. See who you meet, the new people you're going to meet. And see how your life is just going to change for the better.